Welcome to an entrepreneur's dinner with the coaches. I am your host, Nadira Lewis, and I am excited that you guys have decided to have dinner with us today here on an entrepreneur's dinner with the coaches. Are you guys ready to have dinner today?
Yeah, of course, of course.
All right.
Yes,
So we're
most
going to go ahead and
definitely.
turn it over to Thomas and let him introduce today's topic. If you're watching us by YouTube, make sure you click the like button and make sure you hit subscribe and call your friends, call your entrepreneur friends up and tell them an entrepreneur's dinner with the coaches is on. So, Coach Thomas, you want to
Good
go ahead
evening, good
and introduce
evening.
the topic
Yeah.
today?
Hey, good evening, good evening. Again, just want to say thank you for everybody that's actually watching who took the time out to spend some time with us this evening. This evening, actually, I'm going to go a little bit about over last week, just in case if you wasn't with us last week. We talked about hunting versus farming, right? That was an awesome conversation we had a lot of different perspectives. This today we're going to move it a little bit further this evening, and what we're going to talk about is what are some of the myths that you've experienced and or heard about being an entrepreneur, you guys. So, what are some of those myths, right, that people talk about, or water cooler conversation that you hear that people think they know what it's really about, but they kind of really don't understand what it's really about because maybe they haven't taken a journey. They may wanted to do it, they thought about it, but they actually haven't actually take the plunge of becoming a true entrepreneur. Coach Shaan Rais, you out there? You want to start us off?
Oh, brother, the myth first. Good evening, everybody. Right, the myths about entrepreneurship. There's so far, and there's so many of them, brother. There's there's so many. Pick which one you want. You need to run ads. You need to have a huge budget. You need to have a huge following. A lot of people harp on the email list. You got to have an email list. Oh, you need a college degree. You need $100,000 to get in the door. The ads, the marketing budget. That's one of the huge pieces. Like where do we begin and where do we end? I think it's all a myth. I think it's all a myth. Get rich quick, you'll make money as fast as possible. You won't make any money. That's another myth that it can't be done. What do they call it? They say it's a network marketing scheme.
Yeah.
It's all about who you know. You got to know the right people. You got to know the right people. Oh, the Illuminati. Oh yeah, the Illuminati. For God's sakes, you worship Satan if you make any money over here. You know, I hear it all, brother. I hear it all. There's no truth to any of it. The myth is a myth, right? So the fact that
Mm-hmm.
there might be a myth, that's a myth in itself. It requires hard work. And because it requires hard work, people who don't have it in them to do the hard work say, "Oh, it's the Illuminati. You gotta worship the devil to do that. You gotta go against God to do that. You gotta do things. You gotta kiss the ring. You gotta kneel and kiss the ring to be successful. And I'm not doing that because I believe in this and I believe in that. And I'm not gonna be one of those devil worshipers.
Mm-hmm.
I've heard it all, brother. I've heard it all. The truth is, it takes hard work. There's no get rich quick scheme. It boils down to what you have inside of you. And a lot of people find that they don't have a lot inside of themselves. So they look for an excuse outside of themselves to use as an excuse and a reason why they're not successful as the
Mm-hmm.
next person.
Wow, that's a huge point because sometimes it really boils down to, like you're saying, are they afraid of success? And they kind of wrap it up into a nice, funny, comfortable word called entrepreneurship. Hey, it's just a thought. It's just a thought. How about yourself, Tracy? I see you nodding over there. I see you smiling. I see you kind of agreeing with Coach is saying. What are your experiences?
Prior to becoming an entrepreneur, I thought that entrepreneurship would give me, um, all this free time. And now I understand that it's a lot of hard work. Being an entrepreneur, I feel like those myths are just excuses along the lines what Sean was
Mm.
saying, excuses not to take the not to invest in yourself, not to take the leap of faith and try to create something for yourself and your family. It's just an excuse.
Wow. Okay. So Tracy has experienced that it's really just an excuse because they don't really want to do the hard work.
Mm-hmm.
All right. How about yourself, Junior? I see you nodding over there, half smiling. Like, yep, okay.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Good evening. Good evening to everyone. Yeah, I'm half smiling because I think I've heard about everything, everything that the coaches have said on the call. I've heard all of these things before, but one of the number one things, in fact, not one of the number one things, but one of the top things that I've heard is you need money to get started. Like that might be the
Okay.
number one thing. You need money to get started with entrepreneurship. I know from my experience when I got started, I had no money when I got started. I had no money. All I had was a pen and a blank sheet of paper. That's all. That's all. And Google, man. That's all I had. A pen, a blank sheet of paper, and Google,
Mm,
YouTube. That's it. But people say you need money. But I think people who say you need money is because they don't really understand what business is, right? So business to me is a facilitation of transactions. So you
mm-hmm.
facilitate transactions from one party to the next. So you don't need money to do that. That's what we call closing. That's what we call closing.
Mm-hmm.
So you need skills. You need skills to make money. You don't need money to make money. So you need skills to make money. So one of the top
Okay.
myths
Okay.
I've heard is, yeah. So one of the top myths I've heard is you need money to get started. And before I sort of jump off, Mr. Taylor, you said something so
Mm-hmm.
powerful: the fear of success. I think the fear of success is a real thing. Normally, when people don't buy, it's normally because they lack trust in one of five areas. So maybe they don't trust you as a salesperson, they don't trust your
Mm-hmm.
product, they don't trust your company, they don't trust the contract. But if you have established trust in all four of these areas, the only place where they lack trust is in themselves. They don't trust themselves because they don't know how to deal with the success. So that is very, very powerful what you just said.
Awesome. Wow. Wow.
Junior trying to make enemies. He trying to hurt feelings already.
Junior went right in for the juggler
Yeah,
vein,
yeah,
boy.
yeah.
He
No,
went
no
right in for the
nice
juggler vein.
introduction or nothing. He just trying to crush egos and stuff. Go ahead.
He's a straight closer,
Oh
coach. He's
yeah.
a straight closer, boy. No chaser. Great job, Junior. How about yourself, Miss Charmaine? How about yourself? What are your experiences?
Well, for me, growing up, I didn't hear much about the word entrepreneurship at all. I knew about hustling though. We use that word very frequently, hustling, right? So I didn't really know about entrepreneurship, but prior to me actually jumping into entrepreneurship, I did hear a few continuous things over and over, like the whole money situation. You have to have a certain amount of money to start because in entrepreneurship, growing up, that was like Oprah, that was the actresses, that was the actors, the music artists,
Mm,
things like that. So we didn't really
mhm.
know much about the business owner part, because when you move into that space, like, oh, you got to have money. You have to move to California where the people are at to be known, to be seen, to start up your business. Don't start after a certain age. You have to have a business degree. You need to go to college and have a business degree. And
Wow.
like, I was just like, oh my gosh. And then they started getting to the 7 streams of income. They're like, oh, you got to have 7 streams of income. So naturally, when you're starting and you hear that, you're like, oh, well, let me go do 7 different things instead of,
Mm,
having that one niche and getting those 7 streams of income or multiple streams of income from that one niche. But those are some of the things that I heard. And then, also, oh, well, you have more time on your hands, must be. You have all the time in the world. Like, we all have 24 hours. Like, I don't have more time than you to work on my stuff. But those are some of the things that I've definitely heard in the process.
wow. You knew hustling, but you didn't know nothing about entrepreneurship, about business. You
Yeah,
knew hustling, though.
yeah, we heard that word frequently. We heard, so that's where it come from. We gotta do this, do that, do this. I'm like, okay, but entrepreneurship, I'm like, oh, yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Something totally different. This is getting good. How about yourself, Miss Kayla? And then we go to Miss Nadira. How
Yeah,
about
it's
yourself,
fun.
Kayla?
Can you guys hear me? Yeah. Good evening. Good evening. So for me, it's like get this 10K quick, right? This myth about get this 10K to achieve this 10K. Once you start, you will be able to get the freedom because you have no boss, right? So and you need to be like one of the things that the people are saying as well is that. You need to take your time and meditation, even though meditation and all those stuff is good. But if you don't do the work that is required, guess what? You will fail. So yes, combine the meditation, like create the work balance is really important because it's one of the part of foundation. But if you don't do the work, what's gonna happen is you don't have the business. You are working toward what is the question that we will be like thinking. But for me, the thing is like achieve this 10K, and then the people start sabotaging themselves because they see it as an unachievable because this is kind of money they never had. So they seeing those things like in the big distance and start to sabotaging the work they should be doing because they will say, okay, I'm not able to achieving this 10K, so maybe I should be trying something else or giving up because it's not working for me and I'm not getting this 10K. So this is the biggest one for me.
All right. Kayla said you need to do the work. Did you guys hear that? There's no going around it. There's no bypassing it. You need to do the work. How about yourself, Miss Nadira? What are your experiences? We can't hear you.
Okay. I'd have to say I agree with pretty much everybody in terms of I'm like Charmaine. When I grew up, I grew up in the hood. So entrepreneurship wasn't really entrepreneurship. It was hustling. You did whatever you had to do, whatever it is that you had. If you sold sneakers or even if you sold your own stuff, that was when I look back, we looked at it as that was a form of entrepreneurship. But entrepreneurship it takes work. And it not only does it take work, but it takes us being able to take the time to make sure that we do the research and that we make sure that we know what we're going after, because sometimes we get used to it's easy to follow, right? And work for MLM companies and work for other companies that are established. But it's harder when you have to put the work into your own business and you have to make sure that you do all the work that's required in your own business. It's easy to follow because the MLMs, they already have everything set up. When you have to work for yourself, it takes a lot of work. And you don't. And another thing is that you like I think it was Tracy or one of them said about time. Most people think when you start an entrepreneurship that you're going to have all this time to do whatever you want to do. And sometimes you work harder as an entrepreneur than you do working on somebody's job because you have to be present every aspect of your business until you outsource whatever it is that you're trying to do. So it's definitely not for the faint and heart. If you want to get into entrepreneurship, you have to not only put in the work, but you have to be committed and you have to be confident that you can do it. You have to be confident that you can do it, and you can't compare yourself to other people and say, well, if they've done it like this or they've done it, that means I'm not going to be able to do it because I don't have this degree or I don't have that experience. You can do it. If you put in the work and you put in the time, you can do it.
Wow. That's awesome. And, and kind of piggyback off of that, for me, growing up in New York, like that word entrepreneurship wasn't even really, a fancy word or nothing. Like it was just nothing that we really could attract to because it was nothing that we knew somebody that was relatable to that, right? Because, the businesses that were kind of equated to entrepreneurship could have been like the barbershop. We had somebody that had a local barbershop or something, like that's the only real frame that we put business in. But something that somebody kind of just created and did on their own, it really wasn't of the positive nature. It was of the negative nature, right? So to have what we have now, when you see, individuals coming together, dealing with the coaches, talking about business, right? Having business experience and being true entrepreneurs, it has evolved, right? Because now it's really something that's tangible for all of us. Coach, I see you shaking your head. Before we go deep, would you like to say something?
Well, a lot of times it's that old adage of hustling that stops people from really becoming successful in business, right? A lot of people can't do the crossover. A lot of people can't do the crossover. They stuck in their definition or in their limiting belief of what entrepreneurship is. When you see it a certain kind of way, it's like having a perspective. When you have a perspective, that's your story. That's your story. So that becomes your truth. If your truth is that you have to work 80 hours a week to be successful, then you'll find a way to work 80 hours to be successful. If you believe that you will never make more than a certain amount, whether it's in your business or on a job, that's going to be your reality. No matter what you do, no matter how successful you could possibly be, you can only go as far as your story will allow you to go. And that's why you want to seek assistance. That's why you want to seek coaching. That's why you want to seek a higher level of awareness than your own, based on the zip code or demographic that you come up in. You want to search out a better story so you can expand your own, expand your glass, kind of see outside of the fishbowl, right? Because that's the only time that it becomes possible for you. That's the only time that it becomes possible for you. A person would never think that a 6-figure month was possible until they worked with someone who saw it and showed them how it was done. Then it expands your scope. And then you're like, oh, this stuff really does exist. Oh, you can be an entrepreneur and be a businessman. Oh, you can start selling CDs out of your trunk and go to the big leagues and find out what that looks like. You understand? Like, if you look at our culture and the people that did it and the people that are doing big things now, they started small and they grew step by step by step. But let me tell you this, no one went from small to large without assistance, without coaching, and without ongoing development. It requires an outside lens to help you expand your scope.
Amen. Yeah, that's facts right there. I talked about that on my coaching call today with my client. That's fact right there. It's definitely needed. Ms. Nadira, I think we're going to go to break.
Yes. If you guys are, thank you guys for those that have joined and have made comments. We are actually we are reading your comments and we will get to your comments. Bobby, thank you so much for responding. Work is required. Absolutely. He said you are doing a lot of building. You must be present. Truth. Absolutely. So for those of you that haven't had a chance to comment, make sure if you have any questions for any of the coaches on the panel, make sure you put a comment in the comment box and we'll get back to your comment. We're going to get ready to go to a commercial break. We'll be back after this.
Some terrible things in my life.
Some of them I chose to do.
And I own these choices.
But others, I just feel like I was swept up in a series of circumstances that didn't involve my will.
They just sort of happened to me.
I've become the culmination of those choices and circumstances.
So I guess I just need to say it.
I really need some help.
Hello, I'm Tracy Harris, and I help women in positions of leadership go from stalling to balling, taking back control of who they are so that they can create the lifestyle they desire. For more information, go to www.tracylharris.com.
Hi, I'm Charmaine Q. Harrison, herbal naturopath. I help release individuals from a state of toxicity into natural wellness so they are able to go from feeling to healing. Book a call with me today at www.healbynature.org. Zach.
Hello, my name is Thomas Taylor III. I'm a visionary coach. I help business leaders align their dreams with their destiny so they can build a lasting legacy. So if that's you, you can reach out to me via Instagram at Thomas Taylor III, or you can follow me on YouTube at Thomas Taylor III, that's Taylor Your Dreams. That's Thomas Taylor III, that's Taylor Your Dreams. Until then, go out there and make it a great day.
Cravit, and I am confidence coach. I empower female entrepreneurs find fulfillment by awakening their confidence. Find me at I am Kayla Cravit on Instagram. Let's unleash your confidence.
I'm Nadira Lewis, author, life, and business coach, and founder of the Becoming a Woman of Proverbs Wisdom Academy. I help women take their life experiences and turn them into life lessons. I also believe that just like hurt people, transform people can transform people too. Make sure you book a call with me at www.womanofproverbscoaching.com, and I'll see you on the other side of victory.
All right, and we are back here with Dinner with the Coaches. And if you guys have been watching us from the beginning, we have been talking about the different myths of entrepreneurship. So if you have any myths that maybe we haven't discussed, put it in the comments and let us know what are some myths that you have heard about entrepreneurship. So we're going to go ahead into part 2 of our topic of myths in entrepreneurship. Thomas, you want to continue in?
Yep. So now, you guys, we're going to go one level deeper now, right? So when you summarize the first half, we really talked about understanding why you actually want to start a business, right? Knowing your why you want to do it. So this segment, what we're going to go a little bit deeper on is with the pandemic, right? With the onset of the pandemic and the explosion of the internet, you guys, how has that made business in terms of entrepreneurship different, right? Because when 2020 came and when 2020 hit, everybody had to move. Everybody had to shift. First, everybody was stunned because we didn't know where it was coming from, what was going on, almost like 9/11, right? Everybody was just frozen looking up at the sky, right? So now that we kind of moved a little bit past that, what is your experience in terms of the pandemic and now the onset of the internet with entrepreneurship? We're going to start with Mr. from crickets to digits, Coach Shaan Rais.
Well, brother, the internet kind of collapsed time and put everybody on an equal level, right? So before it may have been true, you may have needed a whole lot of money to open your storefront, right?
Okay.
You may have needed a nice amount of money to purchase your first set of shirts, set of books, get your stuff published and purchase work, as they say, right? Whether if you're selling clothes, if you're printing clothes, you had to go to the print shop, you had to spend money. If you're doing the flea market, if you are hustling, right, you have to purchase your cubicle. You have to purchase your little kiosk, wherever that might be, 125 Mart, if you're in Harlem, right? You have to spend money for those things. What the internet did was it leveled the playing field. It leveled the playing field. So now you might not even have a budget. You get to go live and put your work and put your value on the same playing field that Jeff Bezos is. Like they're running ads, you're popping up in the same algorithm if you can figure it out. If you can figure out the time, you can put yourself in that space. So here's a person with no budget, no formal education, perhaps, who can literally go from in obscurity to mass popularity overnight. Overnight. All you have to do is be likable. And watch this. I might not like your stuff. I might not have the flavor for that at all, but your tribe will find you if you're consistent. If you're consistent, your tribe will find you. So you don't have to do Neapolitan ice cream or chocolate, because some people like vanilla. Might not be my flavor, but there's a whole lot of people that swear by it. And they'll find you if you're consistent on the internet. They'll come to you if you're consistent. So that's the thing. It allowed the person who had no formal education, had no marketing budget, had no corporate backing, to be exposed and get exposure in the same space as Nike, the same space as Amazon, and be on the same field. And there's some people that like the underdog more than corporate. They vote for the underdog. So now what you have is people who have no budget, have no formal education, no public, no corporate backing, exploding their business. It's called grassroots. It's called grassroots marketing. So what it did was it leveled the playing field. It made it possible for the organic entrepreneur to come out, and it really gave rise to what we call authenticity marketing.
Wow. That was awesome. That was awesome. Good stuff. Good stuff. Coach said, be consistent, right? Level the playing field. Some key words. That's awesome, Coach. How about yourself, Kayla? We're going to go ahead and start with you.
So what the internet did was making the people find other ways to work together, right? Let's say about Zoom, for example. The Zoom was already there, right? But not so many people was aware of it. So it expanded, made the people explore other ways to keep the work going, because the job need to continue, right? And for some people, they felt lost. Like you mentioned in the beginning, we all were standing for the sky, looking to the sky, looking for answer, looking for option. And for those who already was working with those kind of things, they just leverage the job. And for those who wasn't aware of it, they was trying to explore what was the way that could possibly take them from the point A to point B to keep giving and deliver the job. So this is my thought about the internet and the pandemic.
Wow. She said leverage, you guys, right? It leveled the playing field. And I agree with that 110%, because those who didn't feel like they even understood business or even had a fighting chance in business, right? Once that hit, you know, like what you guys saying, I think it kind of lowered everything and now said, okay, what's your excuse now? How about yourself, Tracy? I see you nodding over there. You bobbing and weaving and nodding. How about yourself?
Yes, for me, I think I am an absolute product of that, because without it was because of the pandemic and because of everything going online that I was sitting in my home office online, and I found opportunities to start to help me build my business. I think without that, this online situation for me, I would have just been in the hustle and the bustle of life, and probably still would have been putting off what I wanted to do for myself. So I think that people like me, I was able to learn about entrepreneurship better, focus more what I wanted to do, and then find avenues to make that happen, all online, which, you know, before it would have taken me knowing somebody and being able to be introduced to somebody else and probably having to go to somebody's class, which I didn't have time to do. But being able to do it online and get certified online, buy the brand, and network online, all of that, I think I'm just a product of it. I'm a product of it.
Yeah, and that's awesome, and that's beautiful. And I think we all are in a funny kind of way, you know. And then we're gonna go a little bit deeper in a minute, because was building a business online a myth? Ooh. Was it the typical brick and mortar, and that was the only way?
Yeah.
So we're gonna pause. We're gonna save that. We're gonna come back to that one, though. We're gonna come back to that one. How about yourself, Junior?
Yeah, for me, um, I would say that the advent of the pandemic, it definitely opened up horizons, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm from a small island. I'm from a small island in the Caribbean. Can probably fit into the state of New York more than once, right? So, so I'm all island. So for me, it opened up horizons. It allowed me to yeah, man, it allowed me to network, to meet different people from all around the world. I know when I got started with my journey in entrepreneurship, and it happened very quickly. In a span of 2 months, I went
Wow.
from not knowing anything about copy to like 2 or 3 months later, I'm speaking on a panel as a copy expert on a global panel in a span
Wow.
of 2 months. 3 months before, I didn't even know what the thing was. I thought it was about copywriting books, right? I thought it was about copywriting
Mm-hmm.
books, but I was able to compress that time and learn very quickly. Learn very quickly. So I think it also forced people to be adaptable. Like you had to be able to adapt to the change. The people who couldn't adapt, they're probably not looking at this right now. They're probably not looking at this right now. The people who couldn't adapt. But for the people who can adapt, we love it. We love it. Like I don't care if it's raining, if it's snowing, if it's hot outside, whatever it is, you know. And Mr. Taylor, something you said earlier, I think it was Tracy actually. She spoke about freedom. She thought entrepreneurship would
Mm-hmm.
give her freedom. So I would say one of the
Oh.
myths again is people when they think about freedom, they forget that now that you're free, you have to eat what you kill. So they forget
Mm-hmm.
that part about freedom. Freedom, you
Yeah,
are
Kayla.
free.
Kayla talked about that. Kayla talked about that.
Was Kayla, okay. Well, yeah, so now that you're free, now that you have time, now you also have to find your food. So they tend to leave out that bit. So you're free to hunt as well. So I'll just end on that.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a little bit from last week's topic, right? But Junior, that was a great point. I want to expand upon that for 1 second, because your situation is a little bit unique based upon the panel that we had. Due to the fact that you are from a smaller island, was entrepreneurship ever in your horizon? Like, is that something that's popular on your island?
Hmm. That's a great question. Popular, I would say among a certain set of people. There are certain set of
Okay.
people, just like with all countries, all places, like they have the majority of the businesses, etc., etc. But for
Okay.
me, I always knew I'd be an entrepreneur. In fact, I'll give you a short story before I jump off. So, I went to school. A lot of my friends went to university after we left school. A guy, he told me invested uh, several thousands of dollars and to study business administration. And he asked me what I was going to do if I was going to come to him with him to university to study business because I'd always been interested in business. So I paused for a while and I looked at him and I told him, by the time you get out of university, I will either be running a business or I'll be hiring you to work in a business. That's exactly what I
Mm,
told him. So I told him,
mm,
I wish you well, but I knew that wasn't going to give me what I needed. So said, so done.
mm. Wow, wow.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, that was powerful. That was powerful. Because I really wanted people to really get a true understanding of what that looks like coming from a small island, and then with the onset of the internet, it expands your mind. But as you can see, you already had a business mindset, right? Your mindset was past your physical current situation,
Yes,
and you
sir.
didn't allow that to limit you. So good stuff, good stuff. How about you, Miss Charmaine?
That's true. Like entrepreneurship has a lot to do with mindset. And I remember during the pandemic, people were so angry because they've kind of felt stuck. They were losing their jobs and things like that. But I know for me, I'm a millennial, so I got excited. I'm like, I get to be creative, utilize resources, and the internet is your resource. And also the opportunity that you have the opportunity. There's billions of people online. I've learned that you just have to kind of go after that opportunity, and you have to stop with the limited beliefs and that mindset and those, that thinking that's going to kind of spiral you to not move ahead and move forward. You have to become coachable. You have to become teachable. You have to learn something new. And that's what a lot of people didn't want to do. They didn't want to learn anything new because they were stuck in a routine. They were stuck. This is what I do from this time to this time. This is who tells me where to be, who to be, what to wear, things like that. I come home and I'm watching TV for the rest of the afternoon. That's my routine. But then when it was kind of disrupted, with the pandemic and things like that, it was just like, man, so that sky's the limit attitude that a lot of people had, the sky's the limit, with their own life, it was kind of disturbed. So I noticed that I took the opportunity during the pandemic to really hone in on the online portion. Like, okay, let me see what I can learn. Let me see, who, what, when, why, where, how, things like that. So it's all about opportunity.
Wow. And that's very interesting perspective in terms of changing and shifting your mentality, because those of us like myself that are in corporate, when you watch with the onset of the pandemic, corporate shifted their mentality as well, right? Corporate never wanted individuals to work from home because they just thought it was destructive, right? So now in the onset of the pandemic, and thank God of the internet, now they had to shift their whole business model, because if they didn't shift, they might end up like Blockbuster. And we know what happened with Blockbuster. It doesn't exist anymore, right? So that's powerful. How about yourself, Mr. Nadira? And when you finish, we can move right on into break there. Nope, we can't hear you.
I'm sorry. I think I got excited when we started talking about this, because what I realized is since the pandemic and you've been utilizing the internet, I think a lot of people that were working on jobs that they were getting paid, they were being paid for a position. Their skill set they were underpaid. You might have had a skill set in a particular area, and you may have been getting paid a salary for that skill. Now you can take that same skill and monetize and get your true worth versus getting an hourly wage or getting a salary wage. And number two, it's also made it possible for people who, sometimes we think you have to be brilliant to run a business, right? That you have to be super smart and that you got to have it all together. But what I've learned in this pandemic is that you don't have to be an A student to teach a D student, right? If you're a C student, you can teach a D student. So don't ever think that because you're not, as your business is not like somebody else's, that you don't have the opportunity to have to take what to be able to help somebody else. And it's all around. I mean, now look at DoorDash, Uber. They have now made it available for people to cook from their own houses now and have.
Oh, wow.
Which is something I was like, wow, this is amazing, because now everybody has the opportunity. You may have been held back at your job. Your boss may have not wanted you to be able to showcase a particular skill. You might have been looking for a raise, and your job may say, no. But then now you have the opportunity. Now you can take your skill set and you can go and you can really go out there and really do it and really do well. Like, I was surprised. Like, I was like, wow, like you don't even have to be, back then it was like all these prerequisites. You have to be like this. You have to do this. You have to. Now, if you have a skill set and if you're in a service-based industry and you're helping people, you can start where you are. So if we talk about any other type of myths, it's the myth of you have to be in a certain place. You can always start anywhere and then grow. Wherever you start at, you don't have to stay there. You can grow, and you do need a coach to be able to help you get up to a different level, but you don't have to be up here to start. What is that saying? Done is better than perfect. You got to start. It's the start that stops people because they think about all the limiting beliefs about what they have or not have in order to start a business. When I look at, somebody like Charmaine, look, she had a medical issue herself, right? She had a medical issue. Now she can go out there and talk. Now she doesn't have to be a doctor to talk about, what transformation looks like because she is experiencing it for herself. Now with me, I have a lot of different experiences in my life. I've had a lot of different skill sets that working on a job that, you're limited, because you have to work within a certain scope. Now I could take those skill sets and create solutions for people, the same thing I would have done at somebody else's job, and maximize it and get paid what I'm worth.
Wow, that's awesome. You go ahead and take us to break. That's awesome. Well said. Well said. Solutions, ladies and gentlemen.
All right, so we're going to go ahead into our next break. Again, if you guys have any other myths that we have not discussed or talk about, we want to hear from you. Put it in the comments and talk to us about some things that maybe you have heard in entrepreneurship. And while you're doing that, we'll be back after this. And we are back here with another broadcast of an evening with dinner with the coaches. And we have just went on, before we went on, we were talking about how the internet has changed how we actually do entrepreneurship. So I want to take the time to acknowledge some of you that have made comments and responded and engaged with us. Thank you guys so much for joining us. Tasha stated that this was one of her class discussions, and that it was a hot topic in discovering the impact the internet and how it has impacted entrepreneurs. Thank you so much for your comment, Tasha. I remember helping other people every day, commented. I remember attending post-grad school early online in 2004 with Blackboard platform, and it did not connect the dots as it related to having a business online until the pandemic. Thank you so much for responding. Bobby says this is powerful. And he said the internet has been a true game changer. Thank you guys so much for engaging with us. And we're going to go into our last segment. And Thomas, you want to go ahead and take us?
Yeah. Yes, man. Yeah. Hey, this has been a great conversation. It's been a great conversation. So these last, 10 minutes, you guys, are kind of what I really want to kind of go one level deeper and talk about and kind of shift, right? So I want to shift from the myths of entrepreneurship to the benefits. And the reason being is because when you really understand what's going on today, there's universities here, I know in Atlanta. Guess what classes they're offering, you guys? Entrepreneurship classes. That's a fact. So what does that mean? Like everything we talked about from the beginning, we kind of went through the myths. And now let's kind of talk about the benefits, because when you see corporate, because universities are a business, they're a big business. When you see them actually giving classes on entrepreneurship, it's called a clue. And as we know, and as Coach teaches us, it's evidence-based. It's not theory now, because they actually picked up on it and it's evidence-based. So now they're saying, hey, obviously it's $1 billion industry, and they're wise enough to say, hey, we need some of that cash. We need some of that cheddar. So we're gonna put a class to make sure you guys come through us in order to be all that you say you want to be. So, Coach, I see you moving around, you fidgeting, like you getting ready. You in the boxing ring, you in the corner.
Let me say something, brother.
Let's go.
I've been waiting for this, right? This is what I've been waiting for, right? Let me say something, right? So the myths of entrepreneurship, the benefits of entrepreneurship. I want to talk about the benefits of the pandemic, right? I touched on the internet. I didn't really touch on the pandemic and coronavirus. Let me tell you something. Coronavirus and pandemic was a curse to many. It was a blessing to us. It was a blessing to us. It was a blessing to this business, right? And I have to be honest, right? And that's not being cold or condescending to what anybody else is going through. I'm there with you. I'm there with you. But see, how can I say this? Every phenomenal business that came through the depression, recession, or any kind of crisis situation is one of those disruptive business models. It's one of those disruptive business models. Phenomenal organizations were birthed through terrible trials and tribulations. This is no exception, and coronavirus is no exception, right? Our inception was through this trial by fire. It was literally during the pandemic when I picked up the phone and began to go live, because there were no in-person gatherings and I couldn't do the speaking seminars anymore. So the people that came to this program came through the idea that was sparked by a problem. That's what entrepreneurs do at the heart of it. At the heart of it, entrepreneurs solve a problem. That's what we do. We recognize a problem and then we create a solution. So when there's a problem, there's an opportunity. An opportunity. And of course, organizations are slow moving. Entrepreneurs are fast moving. And entrepreneurship allows you to move fast. So when I saw the opportunity, I picked up the phone and went live. They began to talk behind corporate walls and say, we need to do something. When they saw organizations like ours begin to generate multiple streams of revenue, 6 figures, 7 figures, then they said, oh, hold on. Who's this guy here, Shaan? Who's this Rais guy, and how is he able to do? Oh no, we need some of this. And now they want to certify and they want to capitalize and they want to graduate. Let me tell you something. Most people teaching those higher level educations, that's exactly what they're doing. They're teaching. They're not walking. They're talking. They're not walking. They haven't built businesses. They went from school to a teacher's position. They graduated, became an intern, became a teacher. They don't know what it is to come on Facebook, come on YouTube, start a channel, start a movement, start a business, and grow it from grassroots. They don't know it. What they're teaching is what we have actually done. So if you want to learn it the right way, come to the people that are doing the work, not the people that are talking about the work.
Wow. Did you guys hear that? That was a drop the mic moment. That was a drop the mic moment. Come to the people that are doing the work.
Not the people that are talking about it and teaching about it.
Big difference, big difference, big difference.
Huge.
Big difference. Great insight, Coach. Great insight.
I was holding on to that one. I was holding on to that one. Go ahead.
Yeah. That's awesome. I'm glad we got there, that you didn't have to leave with that bundle up inside. How about yourself, Tracy? I see you smiling over there. I see you smiling. We on the wind down here.
Yeah, I think the benefit of entrepreneurship, after you go to the people who are doing it and they lay out the frameworks and teach you how to do it, you have now the opportunity to walk in your purpose, to be able to create your lifestyle, serve the people you're put on this earth to serve, and just showcase your skills, be who you are supposed to be, and not, like Nadira was saying before, underneath the umbrella of somebody else who are, suppressing your skills or only want you to do whatever is beneficial to their organization, but you can actually be all you can be, live to your highest potential, and serve to the highest degree. That is what entrepreneurship is to me. That's what I think the benefits are.
Wow, awesome. Boy, she said, walk in your purpose, you guys. Miss Kayla, how about yourself?
I would say the benefit is to close the gap, right? Because we all have been in this position wondering what we came to this earth to do, right? What are our purpose, what exactly we should be doing. We all have been landing on this stage and asking this question. So I believe the entrepreneurship came to close this gap, because I remember myself, like Junior was mentioned when we was in the part of the myth, money was one thing that I would say, but I don't have money to start. So when the pandemic came, I was able to overcome these excusitis and actually take the take the road and go for it. It was like I have been holding for so long. Now is my opportunity. I don't need to wait anymore. It's my time to come and shine. Obviously, there was a lot of things that I needed to learn through the other people who was doing the work, who was walking the talk, right? So when you was mentioned, like the university is teaching how to become entrepreneur, yes, it's gonna be nice in the picture. However, how the work behind the scene will be look like, right? That's why we all say you need to walk the talk. Because if you are here talking about this job that you are not able to do, what's gonna happen is the people will see the fakery. The people will see that it's not real. The people sense it's like an energy, the frequency is not the same. That's why you need to walk the talk and do the job and learn from who already doing it and shine the light so that you can be able to position yourself because you learn with the best.
Wow. It's all right. She said, close the gap and learn from the best, you guys. How about yourself, Charmaine? Then we're going to go to Junior and let Nadira close us out.
So, for me, the benefit has definitely been being able to build my ideal life and actually work towards it, actually start walking towards it, actually seeing it and believing it. Because a lot of times we might see it, we might see it, but we don't really believe that we can get there. So when we go through the process of having a coach and actually getting results and learning the process and the systems and the mindset and all these different moving pieces that's required in entrepreneurship is actually very beneficial, because you start to get to a point where you're just like, okay, this is real, I can do this, and it's very rewarding, not just on a financial end, but also on the, helping other people, helping your family, things like that. So for me, that's definitely has been the biggest thing, building my ideal life and walking towards it and knowing that it's possible and getting out of my own head. Because a lot of times we don't move forward because we're stuck in our own head. And that freedom that everyone talks about, everyone speaks about, we're able to actually live that. We're not just talking about it. We're not just dreaming about it. We're hoping that it happens one day after, working for 20, 40 plus years. We actually get to live that. We don't have to put it to the wayside. We don't have to put it on the back burner. We don't have to hold on. We don't have to wait till we're ready. We live it. We do it.
Amen. 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 How about yourself, Nadira? I'll let you close it out. Yeah, we can't hear you. We can't hear you.
Okay, I got it off mute. I think too, I'm really excited because I think when you think about the benefits, especially for moms who've always wanted to be able to be home with their kids, it's made it possible because now whether you're, now some moms are home, they're baking, they're doing things that they love with their children and starting a business and starting entrepreneurship. So it's opened up doors for families to reconnect while they're still bringing income. And when I look at success is different for each person. Each person, no matter where you are, based on your morals, values, and principles, and depending on what country you live in. Because some countries, $1 million to them and $1 million to us, we just happen to be in a country where we have the freedom and the liberty to do whatever we want, right? I think the interesting thing about being an entrepreneur in America is that the sky's the limit. That we're not limited, based on, anything. We can do whatever it is that we put our mind, our hard work, and skill set to. And I think that's awesome because I was one of those moms that, worked 2-3 jobs and, was never had any time for my kids. But entrepreneurship, I started entrepreneurship in like 2013, working from home, doing my own thing, building my own skincare products. And not thinking about all the limiting mindsets, comparing that everybody was saying, oh, that's a saturated business. That's a saturated industry. You're not going to be able to make any money in that. If I would have listened to that, I probably wouldn't have even made it through that because I lost my job and I had to take I had to take inventory of the skill sets that I had. And I knew how to create skincare. I was doing it on my own skin. So I started to go out and I didn't know anything. I didn't go to college for marketing. I didn't go to college. I didn't have any degrees in any type of, the only thing I had was the fortitude and the persistence to go out there and do it. And I did well. I was able to not only sustain me and my kids, but I was able to help, other families that were struggling. So I think, to me, it's an exciting time during the pandemic because I wrote my book. I've been trying to write this book for 3 years. The pandemic gave me the liberty and the focus to write my book. It gave me the opportunity to tell my story. Because sometimes we think that sometimes we think that we need more time. Sometimes you just need to evaluate the time you already have. Because just like Jim Rohn said, we're not going to get any more time. We're not going to get any more time. We all have 24 hours in a day. And how you conduct yourself in those 24 hours is going to determine whether you're going to be successfully moving towards the goal that you're trying to achieve, or if you're going to be, or if you're, still needing to go back and kind of figure out what's taking up my time. We spend so much time doing so many different things that have nothing to do with where we're going. And that's why, and that hinders our success. So to me, when I think of being successful as an entrepreneur, it's going towards the direction that's going to give me, the desired results that I want.
Awesome. The only thing I want to say, then, Coach, we'll let you close it out because I know you still got a little bit left in your tank there. just a tad bit. When you took that sip of water, I already know. So we're gonna let you close it out. But what's interesting to me is in the last 10 years, with the creation of Shark Tank, people are really starting to see what their own true worth is and their own true value, and they're really starting to get a real teaching and understanding what business and entrepreneurship really looks like. Not just selling widgets, right? There's a whole system. Coach always talks about that. There's a whole system. He's laughing that goes behind it. But Shark Tank shows you that, right? Sometimes it gets emotional, and sometimes it gets a little hot in there. But those are business people with business minds. Coach, You want to take us out? You want to take us home, Coach? No, we can't hear you.
Yeah, thank you, brother. I just want to say that everybody here is doing an absolutely phenomenal job, right? Everybody here is doing an absolutely phenomenal job. And if you're out there and you're watching this, I want you to recognize that, right? Recognize that everybody here came through an organization that doesn't teach entrepreneurship, but an entrepreneurial organization. That's something different, right? You can teach entrepreneurship as a subject matter, or you can be a SME, an actual subject matter expert, which means you're getting the results. Listen, I don't want to rally so hard against it because I'm in formal education, but at the same time, I'm disruptive and I have to tell the truth to the people. So with me having to tell the truth to the people, this is what I'm going to say to you. Don't be conned. Don't be conned. Don't be taken advantage of. If you want to be an entrepreneur, it has nothing to do with having a master's degree in entrepreneurship. A master's degree in entrepreneurship won't get you $1. You need to learn from people that are actually doing the work. What will take place in those universities is they'll give you a case study to study. And they'll give you someone who is an entrepreneur to study about. You'll be much better off contacting an entrepreneur in real life and becoming an intern, becoming a student, right? Becoming what they call an acolyte or a coach E or a mentee and learning from that individual. Listen, you don't need the middleman anymore. You don't need the intercessor anymore. That is what the internet has done. The internet has brought me to you and these phenomenal individuals to you. You have our address. You have our address in the internet. You can literally reach out to the people that are making the money, that are making the moves, that are building the businesses, as opposed to trying to ask someone permission. You do not need to ask permission to be phenomenal. What you do have to do is make the decision and then take the action. That's it.
Awesome.
Thank you very much.
Awesome.
Let's grow.
Let's grow. Miss Nadira, that's on you.
All right. So thank you guys so much for joining us. We had an amazing time. I was checking to see if anybody else had any more comments. And Bobby, someone else says that they actually they're writing their book. So good for you. Good for you. It's you are to be congratulated because writing a book is the start that stops people, like I said. So just taking the initiative to start writing your book means a lot, and we are here to support you. So if you are here and you need a coach and you've been struggling, like the commercial said, you're struggling, you've been going through some things and you're not sure what direction you want to go, reach out to us. Make sure you click like and subscribe on the YouTube channel and let us know I need help. It's okay. It's okay to ask for help. If it's anything the pandemic has taught us is that we need each other and we need help. So if you need help, reach out to us. Thank you guys for joining. We look forward to having dinner with you next week. Don't forget today is Sunday. Don't forget to join us for Breakfast with the Brand on Saturday at 8 a.m.
That's right. Let's grow, guys.
Let's grow.